My beloved child, when heaven quietly signed its name to your destiny, that divine covenant was not left with any blank spaces. I stepped ahead of you, preparing every open door and every breakthrough, and placing the right people to step into your path at just the right moment. But until you dare to sign it with your own faith, everything heaven has promised will remain untouched, resting on the shelves of the spiritual realm. While your heart still wrestles with worry in times of lack, hearing these words today is no random event. This is a divine appointment, a moment I wrote into your life story long ago. I see every season you have endured, every quiet tear on your pillow, and every secret prayer you have been too afraid to share. Today, I am not just giving you encouraging words to ease your pain. I am establishing a true spiritual milestone in your heart. I am knocking on your heart once again, deeply personally, and with endless love. If you brush this off as mere coincidence, you might miss the profound spiritual weight of what I am doing in your soul right now. Your blessings are already appointed, already signed and sealed. The delay is not on my end. It lies in the walls you have built up inside your heart. Within the divine treasury I have already entrusted to you, you will find the exact resources you need, perfect connections and opportunities that align at just the right moment, along with fresh ideas, peace, strength, and the very miracles that will transform your entire life. These are not empty promises. They are real blessings prepared and waiting for a willing heart to pour them out. Yet doubt, bitterness, discouragement, and the heavy whisper that nothing will ever change quietly build up thick walls, locking away what heaven has already opened. This message is at once my divine comfort because I have seen all of your struggles, and my warning not to let your heart block the flow of blessings I have signed for you. True faith is never just a sudden rush of emotion when you listen to a message. It is your spiritual signature to claim what heaven has already authorized. Faith is far deeper than mere optimism. It means more than saying you believe just to feel better. It means living like you have already received it. Even when your eyes see no visible change, your true faith speaks clearly through the words you choose. It shows when you silence the language of defeat and start declaring my promises through the actions you take. It shines when you dare to make choices, take steps, and maintain an attitude that aligns with your beliefs. When you stop playing the victim and step into your calling, every prayer of gratitude in the dark and every small act of obedience becomes another stroke of your spiritual signature. The problem is not a lack of divine action, but that you have not fully signed the covenant with your active faith. And the moment you sign, heaven will move in ways you never could have expected. My beloved child, this moment is no accidental click, nor is it just a random spare minute in your day. Before you clicked this video, before my words touched your heart, I had already seen you. I have watched every single step of the road you have walked, every bend where you stumbled, and every quiet space where you kept silent. It is I who arranged for us to meet through this message today. Not to entertain you, or for you to listen and quickly forget, but to awaken a truth within. Your life is not an accident. You might think you simply stumbled onto this, but I call it a divine appointment written long ago in my plan for you. Before you ever felt the weight of exhaustion, I already knew your pain. Before you sighed at dead ends, I heard you. Before you felt lost and cried out that you did not know where your life was going, I already held the answer. But there are times when you get so consumed by fear, pressure, and the loud voices of this world that you cannot hear my call whispering so softly inside of you. You must know this. Not a single tear falls without my seeing it, and not a single whispered prayer goes by without me remembering it. On nights when you feel completely alone, remember that I am standing right beside you. In seasons when you feel entirely forgotten, I am actually preparing a major turning point that you cannot even begin to imagine right now. If you reflect gently on your past, you will see how many times you were delivered in ways that made no sense and how doors opened just when you thought everything had slammed shut. That was never random luck. That was my hand quietly guiding your steps, even if people called it coincidence. I call it a divine setup. I never act on a whim when it comes to your destiny. I already knew what trials you would face, the scars you would bear, the lessons you would gather, and the person you were destined to become. Even those chapters you write off as mistakes are never wasted in my hands. The deep hurts that shut your heart, the setbacks that made you feel worthless. I am using all of it to carve depth into your very soul. What hurts me is not that you tripped, but that you have started believing your life is just some random, empty, and meaningless drift. And when you accept that, you quietly strip away your own worth and overlook my hand guiding you. You start wandering through life like a lost soul instead of someone being lovingly led. Living with that mindset makes it almost impossible to notice the gentle spiritual whispers I am constantly sending your way. Right now, as you hear these words, understand that I am not just filling your ears, I am knocking directly on your spirit. This is not just another video to temporarily ease your loneliness before you slip right back into that familiar quiet ache. This is a sacred turning point to remind you that I have never once let go of your life. I am calling you to shake off a lifeless, casual faith, a routine where you offer empty praise just to check a box while letting fear run your day. If you brush this off as mere coincidence, you will miss the profound spiritual weight of this moment. You will hear without truly listening, or worse, without actually believing. Then you will just fall back into the same loop of hope, heartbreak, and surrender. But if you dare to quiet your mind right now and whisper, maybe God is actually speaking to me, then, in an instant, that spark of faith will begin to catch fire again, even after years of gathering dust. I do not show up in your weakest moments by accident, nor do I wait until you feel strong and put together to call out to you. I usually arrive when you start questioning your worth, fearing tomorrow, and doubting my very promises. Because that is precisely when you need the reminder that you are not wading through this heavy life alone. You are being guided even if you cannot see the unseen hand that is holding you steady. Remember those desperate prayers you whispered to me years ago? You might have forgotten them, but I never did. You packed away those old dreams, but I still hold them. You decided some wishes were too foolish, but I never laughed. I still remember every single promise you begged for through late-night tears. But sometimes I have to guide you down difficult paths so your heart can expand enough to hold the massive blessings I have planned. Listen, faith is not some tool you only pull out when the path is easy and flat. It is the lantern that guides you through the darkest valleys. And since you are still listening, I am relighting that flame inside you right now. Not with a temporary rush of emotion, but with a quiet, rock-solid certainty in your spirit. Your path is not aimless, you are not abandoned, and luck does not run your life. You often ask, why do I pray so hard with no results? But you do not see that this long season of waiting is actually building the strength you need to carry the blessing when it finally lands. There are gifts that if given to you too early, you would only end up losing because you were not ready. Some doors, if opened too fast, would foster pride in your heart instead of humble gratitude. So believe me, I am never late, you are just being prepared. Right now, I did not show up to offer empty slogans. I came to speak real truth. You are right in the middle of my plan, whether you can see it or not. My process is not cold or robotic. It is crafted with deep love, endless patience, and a purpose you cannot grasp if you keep brushing everything off as mere coincidence. Otherwise, your heart becomes numb to the sacred shifts quietly happening all around you. Today, I ask you for just one small favor. Please do not take this moment lightly. Do not just swipe away like you do with everything else. Do not listen out of habit. Listen with your entire soul. Because it could be that while you think you are just tuning in out of casual curiosity, I am gently resetting the compass of your heart, guiding you back to the path you strayed from without even realizing it. If you have ever felt like your life is nothing special, I tell you today that the very fact you are still breathing, still listening, and still searching for hope proves that I have never once let you go. If you ever believed you did not matter, look at how I am pausing to reach out directly to your heart right now. That is your clear answer. This is no accident. This is a divine appointment, a sacred moment to remind you that you are never truly alone and never forgotten. You are not some tiny, insignificant speck in a cold universe. You are a crucial part of a grand story I am writing, and your chapters are far from over. And if today you dare to believe this moment has a divine purpose, then you have just taken the first step of a new journey, moving from a life of feeling lost to walking with the absolute certainty that God is leading your way. My child, there are promises I have already signed in heaven. They are not up for debate. There is no doubt about them. Your blessings are decided, sealed, and ready for you. Your life blessings are not some vague wish, but a perfect divine plan I set in motion long before you even knew how to worry. The holdup today is not on my end. The real block is the invisible wall you keep building inside your own heart. You often feel like your blessing is miles away, or that I am still testing your faith, that maybe you are not good enough, worthy enough, or ready to receive. But hear the truth straight from heaven. My spiritual storehouse is already fully stocked for you. Inside is the exact strength you need when you feel completely empty. There are people who will lift you up at the exact moment you feel entirely alone. New opportunities will open up right when you are convinced every single door has shut. Fresh ideas will spark when your mind feels totally exhausted. I have a peace for you that this world cannot give and can never steal. These are not empty words. I do not say them just because they sound beautiful to your ears. They already exist in the heavenly treasure room I built for my children. Everything waits for the right season and an open heart. Yet I see a painful pattern in so many. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side, but you keep stacking bricks on this side. The very first barrier you raise is doubt. You doubt me. You doubt yourself, and you even doubt when things go well. You speak faith, but inside you are bracing for the worst. You pray, but deep down you expect things to still turn out painful and difficult anyway. Every word of worry is like a brick you lay yourself, rising higher and higher without you realizing it. Once those barriers grow too thick, the divine blessings of heaven cannot break through. Not because I stopped giving, but because you locked your own heart. The second wall is bitterness. Life has thrown things at you that were never part of your plan. There are prayers you offered up through heavy tears, only to watch everything go in the completely wrong direction. You do not say it out loud, but your soul quietly whispers, maybe God is not listening to me anymore. Bitterness does not crash in with a loud noise. It settles slowly like dust dimming the light of your faith. And when resentment lingers too long, you start seeing everything I do through a broken, distorted lens. The third wall is pure exhaustion and discouragement. You are just so tired of waiting. You are weary of praying without seeing a single sign. You are so drained you do not even have the energy to feel disappointed. You only have just enough energy left to settle for a mediocre life that is merely survival. In that dark place, you start repeating defeatist thoughts. I guess this is just my life. Trying harder changes nothing. Why even bother to hope? It only wears me out. Every single sentence like that weakens you, building the wall higher between us. I need you to understand something vital. I am not the one building these thick walls. I have not locked the door on your blessings, nor have I torn up what I signed for you. My signature is still there. It is just that every time you surrender to doubt, bitterness, or heavy discouragement, you are the one adding another lock onto your heart. I do not send this message to accuse you or make you feel guilty. I come to comfort you, but also to awaken your soul. I offer comfort because I want you to know I have seen everything. Every single tear you shed in silence. Every sleepless night of endless worry. Every hidden question you were too afraid to ask. You are not suffering in the dark. I have never turned my back on you, but I must awaken you. Because if you keep raising these walls, you are the one who will be trapped inside, not the blessing. Here is a truth you must face. Often you do not lack blessings. You only lack a heart open enough to receive them. You do not lack opportunities. You are only short on the faith needed to step out of your comfort zone. You do not lack divine support from heaven. You only need a softened heart to let that river of blessing wash over you. You say you have prayed so much. I know. But have you actually allowed me to touch the deepest fears inside you? Have you let me heal the emotional wounds you try to hide? Or do you only ask me to change your outer circumstances, all while your inner defenses remain locked tight because you are so terrified of getting hurt again? So many people ask me with such passion, yet they hesitate the moment it comes to trusting. They long for my blessings but feel terrified of hope. They desperately want change, yet fear being disappointed just one more time. And that single fear becomes the highest wall of all. My child, blessings are not something I toss from afar for you to chase. My grace is a flow, and every flow needs an open channel. When you shut your heart, no matter how much love I pour out, you simply cannot receive it. It is not that I am holding back, but that your soul has grown too crowded to hold anything new. If you still think that I have done nothing for you today, let me gently ask you this. Are you sure you have made enough room in your heart for me to work? Or are you still holding on to old doubts, past failures, and old fears, using them to limit what I want to do next? I never came to take away your blessings. I come to break down the barriers in your heart, not with force, but with truth. The deep truth is that you are still loved, still remembered, and still being prepared for beautiful blessings that go far beyond anything you could ever ask or imagine. If you can just soften your heart today, let go of the pain and believe again, even just a tiny bit, those old walls will start to crack. And through even the smallest opening, heaven's light is more than ready to shine through. I do not expect you to be perfectly strong. I only ask for a heart that is sincerely open. You do not need to understand every detail of my plan. Just stop keeping your heart locked up in fear and exhaustion. Keep this truth close. I have already signed my name. Now on earth, all you have to do is drop your guard. When those walls fall, the flow of my blessing will not have to search for a detour. It will stream directly into the place I have prepared deep inside you. My child, too many believe that faith is just a sudden feeling that hits them when a powerful sermon moves their soul, or when they stand surrounded by a worshiping crowd overwhelmed as tears start to flow. But I tell you, true faith is not about fleeting emotions. It is about a deep alignment between your heart and the word I have spoken over you. Faith is more than just saying, I believe, to comfort your mind. It is actively signing your name to the blessings heaven has already set aside for you. Up in heaven, I signed first. I have already secured every good thing destined for your path. But here on earth, that covenant only comes alive when you put your own pen to it through the way you live. And that signature is what we call faith. You must understand a crucial difference here. Faith is not simply optimism. Optimism is just soothing yourself by hoping everything will work out somehow. True faith is when you dare to stand firm on my promises, even when there is not yet a single visible sign of change. Optimism merely rests on feelings. Faith stands on truth. While optimism rises and falls with your circumstances, real faith stands firm even when nothing around you has changed yet. You often say, "I believe in God," but the way you live is still driven by constant fear. You pray for financial breakthrough, yet walk in constant worry about not having enough. You ask me to clear a path, but whenever a door opens, you pull back because you are terrified of taking a risk. It is not that you lack faith. It is just that you have not yet dared to fully commit to what you claim to believe. Faith is not measured only by your passionate prayers, but by how you choose to live the moment you step away from prayer. True trust is not about reciting empty phrases, but making everyday choices. Choosing whether to trust or to worry, to step out or hide, to obey or hesitate. Your signature of faith is never just a single stroke of the pen. It is a story written day by day through 3 distinct stages, and the very first stage begins with your words. The words you speak every single day are sowing spiritual seeds directly into your own life. When you constantly speak defeat, tear yourself down, and claim that you are worthless or have no future, you are agreeing to a contract far different from mine. I have already declared you my beloved child, chosen and full of worth. But when you only speak the language of pain and fear, your signature directly contradicts mine. Faith starts when you dare to change your words, not to fake it, but to align with what I have spoken over you. You might not feel strong yet, but you choose to say, "I am being completely transformed by him." You may not see the entire road ahead, but you declare, "He is leading me step by step." Every faithful word is like fresh ink on the covenant between heaven and earth. Now the second stage is action. Trust does not stop at your lips. If you talk but never dare to step out, your signature remains unfinished. Your choices reveal the depth of your belief. Are you willing to make daily decisions that align with your prayers? You pray for growth, but are you truly ready to learn change and be shaped? You ask me to make your life new, but are you willing to walk away from the relationships, habits, and lifestyles holding you back? Every single step of obedience, no matter how small, leaves a massive mark in the spiritual world. Some choices look completely ordinary to the world, but in heaven they echo as a powerful yes to me. And as you walk this path, you show me that you believe not just with empty words, but with daily choices. These actual steps are what trigger the blessings I have already signed to manifest in your daily reality. The third level is your attitude. This part is absolutely vital. Your faith shows up brightest in how you view your current circumstances. When hard times hit, do you see yourself as a helpless victim or as someone being prepared through rejection? Do you view yourself as a failure or simply as someone being redirected while waiting for results? Are you feeding a bitter spirit or a heart of trust? Remember, I am never afraid of your weakness. I only worry when you let a negative mindset take root in your heart for too long. Because your attitude is the soil where faith either thrives or dies. A heart that constantly complains will struggle to ever spot a miracle. A constantly pessimistic mind will struggle to hear my voice, even when I am clearing a path for you. Every single time you choose to offer thanks while your situation is still uncertain, you are putting a bold stroke on the covenant we share. Whenever you choose hope over surrender, you declare, "I trust the Father's promise far more than what my eyes can see." And those quiet daily choices are exactly what turn faith from a dry theory into a living, breathing power. My child, so many ask, why has God forgotten me? Yet I have already moved on your behalf. The truth is, you simply haven't signed your part of the agreement. I never force your hand. I respect you too much to act without your true agreement because I want more for you than just passive blessings. I want you to step forward as a true partner working side by side with me. Sometimes you feel you must possess massive faith before you ever dare to take a step. But the truth is, you only need the courage to take one tiny step. Out of that small action, a mountain-moving faith will be born. No one develops deep faith without trembling on their first step. No one writes a bold signature without practicing small, simple strokes first. Do not wait for absolute certainty before you commit. If you wait for perfect conditions, you might find yourself waiting forever. Faith is not waiting until you feel fully prepared. It is choosing to believe even when you feel completely empty. True faith does not mean your fear has vanished. It means you keep moving forward even while your hands shake. Hear this truth today. My work is finished, and your part is waiting to be completed through active faith. I am not slow. I am standing here patiently waiting for your agreement, not to rush you, but so you can step into this covenant of your own free will. When you commit, you receive everything I have prepared. You also shed your old identity. You finally stop seeing yourself as a beggar waiting for scraps, and you start to recognize your true authority. You will no longer live as a bystander who only witnesses the miracles of others. Instead, you become the active participant in your own testimony. And when you sign your name even with a shaking hand, and with fear still whispering in your ear in the spiritual world, a massive door swings wide open. Dormant promises begin to shift. Things you thought were dead and buried suddenly start to awaken. It is quiet and unspectacular but deeply real. The problem has never been my lack of action. The issue is simply this. Have you been truly willing to sign your name in faith? But listen, my child, the moment you make that leap of faith, even while shaking and doubting, a massive shift instantly begins in the spiritual world. Heaven does not hesitate when you agree with my word. Heaven never stays silent when you obey. The exact second your heart whispers, I believe, the entire unseen world that your physical eyes cannot trace is set into motion. Deadlocks break and things begin to move. Doors that once seemed completely locked begin to shake. This movement is quiet yet perfectly orchestrated. My angels are dispatched not for random tasks, but with highly specific assignments tailored for your life. Some of these angels are sent ahead to clear your path quietly, removing roadblocks you cannot even see, obstacles that would have exhausted your strength and broken your spirit. Other angels are sent to soften the hearts of those who once rejected you, those who turned away or hurt you, wrapping you in supernatural favors so deep that you will wonder why people suddenly treat you with such kindness. Other angels are assigned to plant divine thoughts into your mind, brilliant ideas and strategies your own mind could never have cooked up, helping you step into things far beyond your old limits. Then in your daily life, you start noticing so-called coincidences popping up everywhere. An out-of-the-blue message finds you the moment you feel stuck. An unexpected invite opens a door you never saw coming. Someone you haven't seen in years suddenly shows up. They bring back a breakthrough you thought was dead and buried. Even a tiny choice starts a massive chain reaction of beautiful changes. You might call these moments random, but I know they are clear signs that heaven is quietly moving for you. You have to realize that when your faith goes to work, I don't just move in heaven. I start rearranging things on earth. People, timing, environments, and circumstances. Everything is being shifted back into its rightful place. In the masterpiece I am painting for your life, some people are being guided out of your story. It is not to make you suffer, but to free you from old anchors that hold you back. I bring in new people not to overwhelm you, but to lift your vision and purpose. And when doors close, it is never because I reject you, it is because you outgrew them. So often you wonder why everything takes so long. But you don't see that what feels like a delay is really just preparation. I am setting the stage. I prepare the people, and most of all, I prepare you. If things happen too fast, you might waste the blessing. If blessings come too quickly, you might drop them because your roots aren't deep enough to hold them yet. So when the perfect moment arrives, there won't be a chaotic explosion. Everything will unfold smoothly and steadily, without deviation, without any mistake, and not a second late. But let me warn you about something. If you only look at life through human eyes, you will mistake these divine signals for ordinary events. You will shrug and say, oh, that was just luck, or think it was probably a coincidence. Then you will go right back to complaining that God is not doing anything. But the truth is, I never stopped working. The problem is that you have gotten too used to seeing miracles through the lens of the ordinary. When grace becomes too familiar, you can end up taking it for granted without even realizing it. In truth, some miracles do not make a loud entrance. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will not unfold in the dramatic ways you once imagined. Sometimes my answers do not arrive like a sudden flash of lightning, but rather as a slow series of tiny, ordinary details that are easy to miss. Yet when you piece those tiny things together, they form a massive turning point in your life. My child, when your faith starts moving, you won't just see your circumstances change. You yourself will be transformed from the inside out. You will become deeply sensitive to my voice, noticing subtle things you used to completely ignore. You start to realize that some answers aren't about winning or losing. They are about being shaped, prepared, and elevated for your destiny. And when you finally look back, you will be amazed at how far I have brought you since the day you chose to step out in faith. Sometimes you might wonder why certain people enter your life so fast, only to leave just as quickly. You don't realize that some people are only meant to walk with you for a season, to teach you a valuable lesson or give you a fresh spiritual touch. Then they must leave so you don't depend on them instead of learning to walk with me. Then there are those who seem totally ordinary, yet they become the keys to a massive transition in your life, arriving at the perfect time in the perfect place. When your faith is active, you are never alone in making major decisions. You stop making choices out of fear or a desperate need for safety. Instead, you are guided by my peace. It is a peace that doesn't rely on everything being stable, but on knowing with absolute certainty that you are safe in my hands, even when outward things are still completely messy and unclear. Let me tell you this truth, once you take that step of faith, heaven will never sit on the sidelines of your life. Heaven intervenes, heaven orchestrates, heaven arranges. There are sharp turns in your road that look like massive mistakes through human eyes, but when viewed spiritually, they are just loving redirections. Those moments of slowing down might feel like lost momentum, but they actually keep you from arriving too early at places you aren't ready for. So, if you are starting to see unexpected shifts in your life today, changes you can't quite explain, with new connections, opportunities and challenges you have never faced before, do not be so quick to fear. These are highly likely signs that your leap of faith has reached heaven and your breakthrough is finally starting to move on earth. My child, when heaven has signed it, once I have sealed the blessing meant for your life, do not just sit there waiting for spiritual crumbs like a beggar. I have not called you to live begging for tiny crumbs, but to walk as a rightful heir, knowing you have a true share in your Father's inheritance. I want you to shift your entire mindset from someone who simply waits for handouts to someone who deeply knows they have been entrusted with a gift and must steward it. A beggar constantly pleads, "Please give me whatever you can spare, just do not abandon me." But an heir is different. They are not arrogant, but they clearly know their position. An heir does not approach me trembling with inferiority, but with reverent fear and gratitude, saying, "Father, thank you for all you have prepared. Please teach me how to steward and use this according to your will." It does not please me when you insist on living beneath the promises I have already spoken over your life. True humility is not about self-deprecation, but accepting exactly what I say about you, nothing more and nothing less. First, let us correct how you pray. Do not pray like a beggar pleading for scraps, saying, "Lord, if possible, give me just a little of this or that," as if I were hard to please, or as if I only open my hand if you beg enough. Remember, I am your Father. A loving father does not always give his children everything they ask for, but his heart is always ready to give what is good at the perfect moment. I want to hear your voice and have you open your heart to me. I do not want you stuck forever in a state of fear, dreading rejection. Come to me simply as a child entering their home. Learn to pray as one who knows they share in their Father's rich inheritance. Father, I know you have prepared my portion of blessings. Please open my eyes to see them. Open my heart to receive it and guide me so that I am worthy to steward it. That is how an heir prays, not a beggar. Next, I want you to speak like someone who has received. Your mouth is too used to saying, "I am nothing. I cannot do it. My life is over. This is all there is." Those words might sound humble to you, but in truth, they deny the active work I am doing inside you. An heir does not boast, but neither do they tear themselves down. Stop calling yourself a victim. Stop saying you are forgotten or that you are always the last one to arrive. I have called you my son, my daughter. So why do you cling to the labels that past wounds and fears have stamped on you? Starting today, I want you to change the language you use when speaking about yourself. Speak with this truth: I am being shaped by his hand and my life rests in the Father's care. I am learning to live with divine purpose, not like a lost wanderer. These are not empty slogans. They are the signature of your words aligning with what I have decreed over your life. But words alone will never be enough. A true heir does not hide in a comfortable shell. Live like someone who has actually received, making active choices and bold decisions. Take steps knowing you are managing what I have entrusted to you, not merely renting this temporary life for a season. If you truly believe I am clearing a new path for you, then start preparing, learning, reshaping your daily habits, and taking back control of your time. If you believe I am leading you to a new place, start taking small steps today. Sign up, ask questions, try and connect. Do not wait for perfect conditions before taking action, because true faith starts with small, real steps. An heir lives with this daily knowledge that their life is not meaningless but part of a divine mission given by the Father. Therefore, you no longer choose options just to survive the day, but to step closer to my promise. You will begin asking, does this decision lead me closer to my Father's will? Does this relationship support my calling? Does this daily habit drain me, or does it strengthen my spiritual life? When you live like that, you are acting as a steward of a real inheritance, not just a traveler looking for temporary shelter. I also want you to stand out as a visible spiritual sign. Do not hide your faith away thinking, as long as God knows my heart, that is enough. I want you to take visible steps, not to show off, but to establish a spiritual milestone for yourself and those around you. It could mean speaking your faith aloud with courage instead of staying quiet out of fear of being judged. It might be sharing a spiritual message you believe in, even when you know some people will not understand it. Or maybe it is finding the courage to apologize, offer forgiveness, and start over completely. To commit to a new act of service, stepping out into a journey you only ever dared to dream about in your quietest moments. These steps might seem tiny to the world, but in heaven's eyes, nothing you do out of pure faith is ever small. Every quiet yes to me, every brave step you take to break those old cycles, every time you declare, "I believe and I will live differently," each one is a bold pen stroke signing your name to the covenant heaven has already sealed. People may not understand. They might judge or even despise your choice. But in heaven, every single act is written down as your way of saying, Father, I agree with your word. I'm not just listening, I'm taking part. But child, I must also warn you of a very real danger. If you spend your whole life just waiting, you'll miss out on your true inheritance. If you only watch, listen, and feel moved, but then let the moment slip away, your faith will slowly turn into a mere emotional habit instead of a power that transforms your life. You'll slide into a routine where you hear powerful messages year after year, yet your day-to-day life never actually changes. You'll end up using your faith as a cheap spiritual painkiller, rather than letting it be the engine that drives you into a whole new life. I didn't make you to just follow religion to fit in, but to be a real carrier of blessing, light, and hope to those around you. But to walk in that, you have to accept that you're an heir, that you've been entrusted. You must dare to step out of that old mindset. I'm afraid they'll call me a hypocrite. I'm afraid people will say I'm just putting on a show. I'm afraid old friends will judge me for changing. That fear of being misunderstood can lock you in a safe, quiet shell. But it also traps you inside the invisible cage of living like a spiritual orphan. My child, if you stay timid, pulling back and fearing what others think, you'll end up living as if you were completely fatherless. Even though I've called you my son, my daughter, a spiritual orphan is always trying to do everything on their own, carrying every burden, hiding their pain, and trying to protect their reputation all by themselves. But an heir learns to lean, to walk, and to act even when they're trembling, knowing deep down, I am not alone. My Father is walking this path with me. Today I'm inviting you to stand up. Stop living like a beggar at the gates of your Father's house. Don't stay on the outside just listening to the music from the banquet. You have a seat reserved at my table, so stop begging for mere crumbs of peace, tiny scraps of hope, or faint rays of light. I have prepared a rich inheritance for you in Christ. Step in and receive, steward it, live it, and share it. Sign your name, not just with words, but with your daily choices. As you start living like an heir, speaking like someone who has received, praying like someone who has received, and choosing like someone who has received, acting like someone who has received, you'll discover something amazing. Heaven will no longer feel like a distant place high above your head. Heaven will start echoing through your every decision, every relationship, every opportunity, and every season of your life. That covenant heaven signed long ago will finally be complete, because now you've signed it too with your own faith and real actions. And that's when you won't just hear about my blessings, you'll actually step into and live in the favor I've had ready for you since the beginning. My child, you weren't born to fight over scraps of blessings like someone who's terrified of being left behind. What I have planned for you isn't some leftover scrap tossed to the side. It's not something you must fight, claw, or strain to prove you're worthy of. I've already written your name onto the inheritance reserved for you in my house. Therefore, you don't need to live in constant stress, counting every penny, terrified of losing out or arriving too late. What I want from you isn't anxious striving, but learning to be completely still before me, trusting my heart, and keeping your own heart soft and open so my promises have room to flow. In that posture, my blessing is no longer something you have to chase, but something you simply know how to receive. There are so many things I've got stored up for you in places your eyes haven't even glimpsed yet. From where you're standing, it might look like nothing is shifting, but from mine, these miracles are already finished. They're like seeds waiting beneath the soil, ready to break through the moment the season is right. Your faith acts as the doorway, the falling rain, and the warm sunlight that wakes them up. When you choose to trust and open your heart instead of building walls of suspicion and doubt, you let those hidden promises step into the light, moving from the unseen world into a place where you can actually see, touch, and feel them. I do not expect you to understand everything. Instead, I am asking you to open up and stop hiding from disappointment. Do not let past pain keep you closed off. Let me make a path. I know your heart is full of heavy questions. Past hurts have taught you to guard yourself by building walls, the wall of logic, of experience, and of quiet indifference. You tell yourself, if I expect nothing, I won't get hurt. If I never hope or wait for anything, then nothing can pull me down. But my child, by shutting out the pain, you also shut out the very channel where I want to pour life, healing, and renewal. I did not come to take anything else from you. I came to restore what you lost while hiding behind those shields. If you keep wearing your past darkness as armor, my fresh light will struggle to find a way inside. Today I am softly touching that gate, telling you that you can open it now, not all at once, just little by little. Let out an honest sigh instead of holding it in. Open your heart with a simple prayer. Father, help me believe again. Open it with a small choice to stop tearing yourself down and to stop speaking words that crush your own hope. I see every tiny shift in your heart. To you it might feel like just a passing tremor, but in the spiritual world, that is the exact moment the door cracks open and fresh air rushes in. You cannot imagine how even a tiny shift in your heart can completely change the spiritual atmosphere around you. When you truly listen with reverence, instead of just trying to get it over with, the air in your room, in your house, and in the very place where you stand begins to shift. When you welcome my words with gentleness instead of locking up inside, peace starts to spread, even if nothing on the outside has changed yet. I am walking slowly through your life like a master craftsman, fine-tuning every single detail, loosening what is too tight, tightening what is loose, and straightening what was bent by the hard years. All of this starts on the inside and flows outward. While you think it is just you looking at a screen, I am quietly working in the background. I am shifting the people in your story into their proper places. Some have to leave so they stop pulling you back into the past. Others, I am bringing in to walk with you on this new path. I am bringing back the opportunities you thought were lost, returning them now because you are finally ready to seize them. I am already preparing the hearts of the people you will meet, so that when you show up, the doors of their hearts will welcome you. I am also guiding you toward brand new doors you have never even considered, places where your old fears once held you back from entering. Soon you will start noticing beautiful moments happening more and more often. A surprise phone call arriving at the exact moment you desperately need some confirmation. An invitation that makes you hesitate, yet lines up perfectly with what you have been secretly praying for. A chance meeting that opens up a whole new path. You might still be tempted to call these things coincidence, but I want to teach you a different language. Call them my loving arrangements. When you put your trust in me, no moment is ever wasted and no detail is meaningless. By opening your heart, you will gradually learn to tell the difference between outer noise and my gentle nudge drawing you in a new direction. Sometimes my shifting is not just about bringing new blessings in, but also gently removing what no longer fits. A job you held onto so tightly might suddenly feel cramped. A relationship you defended at all costs might suddenly show painful limits you tried to ignore. You feel confused and ask why everything is getting messy when you are trying to believe. But you do not realize that because you started believing, I finally have the space to step in and work deeply. I am not creating chaos in your life. I am only shaking up what was already tangled so you stop settling for less. I want to bring you into a wider space. I cannot let you stay hidden in that small familiar room while I rearrange your opportunities. I do not do this on a whim. I weigh your timing, your strength, and your emotional state very carefully, and even the secret dreams inside you that you have forgotten. Some doors will not open the first time you knock. It is not because I do not hear you, but because opening them now would find you completely unprepared. I could give you what you want, but I love you enough to make you wait, helping you grow so that when you finally step through, you do so with deep gratitude and care, rather than just wanting to conquer and walk away. I am also touching hearts, even the ones you think are hard as stone. Some who once rejected you will find their hearts quietly softened by my hand. This is not to lift you up, but to make sure my divine plan for you keeps moving forward. Sometimes you will be amazed when someone suddenly treats you differently, less harsh, less demanding, and no longer cold. But before you feel pride or confusion, I want you to understand one thing. It is not just a sudden change in their personality. I am gently knocking on their hearts, just as I once knocked on yours. Above all, I am opening new doors, not just in your career, finances, or relationships, but first the doors deep inside your own soul. The door to seeing your true value. The door to healing and making peace with your past. The door of bravery to face what you once ran from. Once those inner doors swing open, external challenges will no longer scare or overwhelm you. You will walk through those doors with a much steadier step. You are no longer a child chasing every passing distraction. You are an heir walking directly toward the destiny I promised you. So please do not rebuild the walls I am trying to tear down. When pain strikes, do not rush to make a final judgment. You see, building them is useless. Bring your pain and your questions to me instead. Do not let them become bricks for another wall. When you are exhausted and ready to quit, do not pull back into silence. Just be honest, Lord, I am tired, but I do not want my heart to grow cold. Please keep my heart soft. Even a quiet whisper like that keeps my grace flowing to you without any blocks. You do not need to fight your spiritual family or compete with anyone in my household. Everyone has their own path, their own timing, and their own blessings. Comparing yourself only drains you and breeds doubt in me. Instead of asking why others get blessed while you wait, learn to ask, Father, what are you teaching me in this season? What are you preparing for me behind the scenes that I cannot yet see? Once you shift your questions, bitterness will fade and your heart will open to receive my divine wisdom. If you hear my voice speaking softly to you today, stop for a second and breathe. Let that breath remind you that you are always safe in my presence. Before searching for more answers, let your soul whisper one simple prayer. I may not understand everything, but I choose to trust that my Father is working for my good. To some that sounds weak, but to me it is beautiful. It gives me space to keep moving and shifting things, to keep opening doors without hitting the wall of your worry. My child, I am never in a rush, and I am not rushing you. I walk right beside you at your own pace, but I will never stop. Keep listening, and I will keep speaking. Open your heart, and I will keep pouring out blessings. When you choose to take that step, I will guide you forward. Soon you will see that what looked like random events were actually the steady steps I laid out for you long before you ever walked this path. My child, the new shift in your life today is no accident. It is the awakening of promises I have lovingly held for you for a very long time. Long before your very first breath back, when you were not even aware of your own existence. When you were just a thought in your Father's heart, I already knew you. I planned your destiny and placed beautiful, unique traits inside your soul. Gifts and talents that even you do not fully understand yet, and deep passions you thought made you too different. I did not just throw random blessings into your life to see what would stick. I have carefully watched over every single detail of your story, putting the pieces together, waiting for your heart to grow soft, deep, and ready to not only receive my gifts, but truly hold on to them. Today I am not offering you vague hopes, but a powerful promise you can hold on to. The blessings I have prepared are finally moving out of the waiting room and into your daily reality. My plans for you are not limited by money, career titles, or the superficial things people easily see and call success. I know you need those practical things to live, to support your family, and to find stability in this world. But the blessings I have designed for you go far beyond just having food, clothing, and money to get by. I care so much more about your inner soul, the quiet place where fears hide and loneliness lingers, where your deepest dreams burn but fear being put out. In my storehouse, I have a peace for you that is completely different from the fragile calm you try to make by ignoring problems or forcing yourself to feel better. It is a deep-rooted stability that anchors your soul, keeping you safe from being swept away when storms rage around you. I have prepared a deep peace that frees you from the need to constantly measure yourself against anyone else, free from the chokehold of human expectations and the endless pressure to prove your own worth. The inner peace I am pouring into you is no fleeting comfort that vanishes in a moment, but a deep foundation where you learn to live, love, make choices, and walk in true freedom. Beyond that, I have stored up divine wisdom for you, reserved for those painful crossroads where you have no idea which path to take. You have stood at those scary intersections of life, staring every way, feeling utterly paralyzed by anxiety, terrified of making the wrong choice and paying the price, worried that one bad decision might ruin everything. You have beaten yourself up over past mistakes, swearing you would never end up there again, only for that fear to tie your hands when new doors and opportunities appeared. I see your quiet inner struggle, and I am not leaving you trapped in this cycle. I am ready to pour out fresh clarity from above, a gentle, clear light that shows you the very next step, even when the rest of your path remains hidden. My wisdom is not just information for your head, but a quiet knowing in your heart, giving you the sight to recognize the truth and the strength to follow it, even when doing the right thing feels incredibly hard to do. I know you have walked through seasons feeling completely drained of all your strength. On the outside, you kept going, smiled, and did your duty. But inside, you were an empty vessel that had not been filled for a long time. Just a few dry drops left at the very bottom. You would lie down at night, yet your mind kept racing. You woke up with the same heavy weight in your chest, going through the motions without a single ounce of joy. Even small wins brought no comfort, and life felt like a hamster wheel. But I never turned my face away from you. In my treasury, I have kept a precious gift called rest, not a temporary escape from reality, and not giving up, but the grace to finally drop your heavy burdens at my feet. I have carefully prepared quiet pauses along your journey, sacred places where you can breathe deeply, admit your exhaustion, and let me carry the weight you can no longer bear. Let me teach you a beautiful way of living, one that rejects constant burnout for a healthy rhythm of movement and rest of fighting and resting of giving and receiving. This is a true blessing. A gift that many miss because they are too busy chasing superficial things to show off to the world. And what about your future? How often have you stared at it like a thick, foggy mist, full of hope but hesitant, longing but afraid? You keep sketching out scenarios, making plans only to quickly erase them. You dream, then scold yourself for being naive. I do not blame you. I completely understand. But while you stress over your plans, I have been painting a much bigger picture for you. You do not need to grasp every single detail, because knowing the entire future would only overwhelm you. I just want to give you a clear, comforting direction. I have planted a vision of a purposeful life inside you where you do not just survive, but become a stream of blessing to those around you. That deep ache to make a difference and not waste your days is not some random feeling. Those are divine seeds I planted, waiting patiently for your heart to soften so they could finally break through the soil. I have already written key people into the master design of your beautiful journey. Some will push you right out of your comfort zone, while others will help you remember the worth you completely forgot. Some will hold up a mirror to show you the dark corners that need healing, while others will simply stand by your side to embrace you when you feel entirely alone. Yes, there will be people who shut you out, who misunderstood your intentions, and who deeply hurt you. But when my perfect timing arrives, their eyes will be opened, and in the exact places you were once rejected, you will find a warm, unexpected welcome. Every single encounter in my hands has a purpose, even the painful goodbyes you thought were nothing but loss. I am weaving a web of connections around you, not for you to cling to them, but so you recognize my hand when a new season begins. When I open that door, no one can shut it. All these years I have been quietly gathering your experiences, every talent, every scar, and every single victory to build the foundation for your next chapter. Even those random jobs that felt so pointless. The projects you started and left behind. The painful failures that made you hide in shame. Those tiny wins that left you wondering whether to celebrate or worry. None of this is wasted in my sight. I see exactly how every single moment is molding you into a stronger, deeper, and far more resilient soul. Every single step matters when you place it in my hands. The moments you felt you were falling backward were actually helping your roots grow deeper. That way, when I lift you up, you won't be shaken when the harsh winds of life start to blow. You might ask if I have prepared all of this. Why are you only sensing it now, my child? Divine blessings are not just about my readiness to give. They depend on your readiness to receive. Your heart is a vessel. If it is still full of bitterness, full of comparison, full of confusion, and desperate to prove yourself, then any blessing I pour out will simply spill over or go to waste. I have patiently waited for you to grow from within. I waited for you to see that human strength alone cannot solve your deepest problems. I waited for you to learn how to come back to me, not just in desperate times, but during ordinary days. I waited for you to bow your head and admit you cannot do this alone. But Father, you are enough. I do not understand it all, but I choose to trust you. Those whispered words show me your vessel is emptying. You are ready now. I see that the raging storm inside you has finally started to quiet down. Your anxieties are still there, but they no longer control you the way they used to. Your pain is still there, but it no longer drives you to push me away. You still have questions, but now you bring them to me instead of hiding them deep inside. That shift, whether you see it or not, is a massive step in your spiritual growth. It shows me you have entered a new season of faith, imperfect but far more ready. And as your heart changes seasons, the blessings I have saved for you begin to unlock. Picture this. I have been quietly storing up fresh water at the headwaters of your life. I did not let those waters burst the banks and sweep you away. Instead, I built barriers, carved out deep channels, and guided the flow. Now it is time to slowly lift the floodgates. These waters will not rush out so wildly that they overwhelm you, but they will completely refresh the dry areas of your life. Doors of opportunity you thought were dead are starting to crack open. Old dreams and ideas are returning to your mind with brand new life. Conversations you once dismissed as minor will suddenly open paths you never imagined. A series of divine coincidences will begin to unfold. If you look closely, you will see God's hand aligning everything into a beautiful pattern. The destiny I have planned for you is no longer gathering dust. It has been unsealed, and I have set it in motion. You might not see the results overnight, but like a train that has already left the station, it is heading straight towards you. No one can stop it if you keep walking in active faith. Some breakthroughs will come quickly, others slowly. You will recognize some blessings instantly, while others will arrive so quietly you won't realize it until later. Looking back, you will say so. That was also part of God's plan for me. I need you to hold on to this truth with a calm, mature heart. Do not demand immediate miracles only to crash in disappointment when things do not unfold exactly the way you want them to. I am not calling you into this new season just to chase temporary feelings and burn out, but so you can walk each step with deeper confidence and with real intention in your daily walk with me. When you realize that what is unfolding is the result of a love that has been preparing for ages, you will stop comparing your blessings with anyone else. You will no longer cling frantically to things out of fear or fall into confusion when a door is temporarily closed. Instead, you will learn to ask, Father, what are you teaching me in this moment? Where is the hidden blessing here? How do you want me to grow so I can move forward? This way, you will no longer be someone who just sits around waiting for a miracle to happen, but someone who actively walks with my favor as it flows to you and through you. You will stop just asking for things. You will start to cooperate. Instead of just wanting to receive, you will begin to share. You will notice so many others who need to be touched by the gifts you have been given. That is when the purpose of my blessing is fully realized. It will not just fill the vessel of your own life, but it will overflow as living water to refresh the dry souls around you. Then you will realize deeply that everything I designed for you from the very start was never meant for you alone. It was given so others could experience the Father's kindness through you. Listen closely now, because this is not just encouragement, it is your divine calling. You aren't a bystander watching from a distance, nor are you waiting on the porch just hoping to hear your name called. In my eyes, you're already family inside the house with your own seat at the table. What I've prepared, what I've set in place, what I have stored in my treasury is not for show or saved for someone more deserving. It is the exact portion meant for you. I didn't make a mistake when I wrote your name into my plan, and I haven't knocked on the wrong door as I come back to your heart again and again. You might doubt yourself, but I have never hesitated to choose you for this journey. So I'm inviting you to step out of a life lived entirely in waiting mode. Do not view yourself as the one standing at the back of the line, hoping that when your turn finally comes, there will be something left over. I don't want you living with a mindset that is always waiting on a turn. I want you to see yourself differently, as someone who has already been given their share, already called by name with a sacred duty and privilege placed directly in your hands. When you keep telling yourself it probably isn't my time yet, you are actually holding your own feet back, even though I've already opened up the path right in front of you. Start to think, choose, pray, and work like someone standing inside the promise, not like an outsider wondering if they will ever be let in. I want to reshape the way you talk about yourself and about me. Stop letting your mouth speak words of lack, fear, and unworthiness. Every time you look down on yourself and call your own life small, every time you talk about the future with a defeated tone, you tell a story that contradicts the one I am writing. I am not asking you to pretend you don't have limitations, but I want you to view them in the light of my grace. A steward of the master's estate does not boast of being rich, but neither do they claim to be empty-handed. They know the wealth isn't theirs yet. They have the full right to use it and look after it. That is how it is with everything I've given you. Your gifts, your opportunities, your experiences, and your healed wounds. Those lessons you paid for with tears are the very resources I want you to use to bear fruit for my kingdom. Do not keep living as though you've been left behind, forgotten with no one to support you. I didn't drop you into this life like a child in a crowded market telling you to fend for yourself. When you get out of bed each morning, I am already there ahead of you. When you struggle with the heavy pressures of work, family, and money, and relationships, I am standing right there with you in that quiet room. I am not just watching, I am involved. What I am waiting for is for you to finally believe you don't have to struggle alone like someone with no one to support them. Learn to walk like a child who knows their father is close by even when you don't always feel it. My presence doesn't depend on your shifting emotions, but on the covenant I've made. I am the one who never takes back a promise. I'm not like the empty promises of people spoken to, sound good and then quickly forgotten. Nor do I operate based on human mood swings, generous only when happy and cold when sad. My heart is steadier than your feelings, and my plans outlast the dizzying shifts in your circumstances. Sometimes you think I'm being slow, but if you could see the whole picture, you would know I keep time perfectly matching the right people to the right place. I do not show up early in some rushed, frantic hurry, and I don't show up so late that you are left to wear yourself out. I step right into the middle of it at the perfect moment, sometimes at the exact moment you think you can't take anymore, just so you will know deep down that I am the one holding you up. Not luck, not other people, and not your own strength. What I've given you isn't just a few kind words to ease your pain. I have placed a rich treasure of experience deep inside your heart. The days you fell and got back up, the times you thought all was lost yet were completely restored, the cracks in your soul that I gently touched and healed. None of this is meant to be hidden. It is meant to be a stream of water refreshing other dry hearts. You aren't just someone who survived the storm. You are a living witness of grace. That is why you have been given a part in this story, not just to receive, but to give. Not just to listen, but to speak. Not just to be lifted up, but to lift others. Do you know how many souls are standing right where you once stood? How many are curled up in a dark corner, staring at the ceiling, and wondering if they even matter to anyone? How many go to church, attend gatherings, and play spiritual videos? And yet, deep down, you hold on to a quiet doubt. You think those blessings are for someone else, not you. You've been there, haven't you? You have sighed those exact same sighs. But I never left you in that dark place. I stepped in and lifted you out of those heavy thoughts, step by step. Now that you have felt my support, are you ready to become the answer to someone else's quiet cry for help? I am not asking you to be a hero on a big stage delivering speeches with fancy words. I only ask that you share your story with true humility and honesty. The message I have trusted you with is not some polished sermon, but your raw, real story, one soaked in tears and marked by the times you fell. The moments you wanted to quit, and those quiet, grace-filled moments when I pulled you back up. When you are willing to open up and share, you are telling the whole world, if God could do this for me, He can do even more for you. That is how you become my hands reaching those whose names I have never forgotten, even if you have never met them. Every time you share an encouraging word, a scripture, a piece of your faith, or a quick prayer, do not think you are losing a thing. A fresh spring does not run dry by flowing out. It only turns stagnant when you try to block the water. A seed cannot bear fruit if it just sits in your hand. It only bursts with life when sown into the ground, letting itself break open and die. It is the same with the grace I gave you. If you bury it under the fear of judgment or misunderstanding, you are the one who loses out. But when you dare to speak up, to reach out and comfort others as I have comforted you, you will not lose anything. Instead, you will find yourself filled to overflowing. I know those doubtful voices still whisper inside you. Who am I to speak? My life is not good enough, not holy enough, or disciplined enough. How dare I try to guide someone else's spiritual journey? My child, if I waited for perfect people before sending them out, no one on earth would ever go. I choose to work through broken vessels that are willing to be shaped. I do not need you to act strong. I just need you to be real. Your honesty about your flaws becomes the gateway that invites others to come to me, proving I do not only seek out those who have it all together, but to those who are confused, messy, and full of struggles. You simply need to let me cleanse your heart. Keep your heart soft and teachable. The source of your strength has always been clear. It comes from me. I also understand the fear of being mocked, misunderstood, or called a hypocrite. I have seen the cold glares you avoided, the bitter words you read, and the sentences that still haunt you. They whisper to just live your life and stop pretending. But child, those voices do not belong to me. My voice never crushes a longing heart or dampens the first steps of a child trying to stand. If you let the fear of other people's opinions paralyze you, you will live like someone hiding a great treasure in a house with locked doors, closed curtains, and the lights turned completely off. You might feel safe, but it is only the safety of a dark, airless room. But when you dare to throw open that door, light will flood in, even if it brings wind, noise, and chaos. I am standing right beside you when you choose to live out the true calling I put in your heart. Do you see that every step of obedience you take does more than change your own story? It impacts everyone around you. It could be a younger sibling silently watching how you handle hard times. Maybe a coworker is watching to see if your faith actually holds you up. Or a family member who is tired of empty religion, quietly waiting to see if there is a faith that actually touches real life. When you live as someone entrusted by the Father, not perfect but genuine, not showy but not hiding, you show them a completely different picture of me. Not far off, not cold, but close and patient. I want you to picture this. If only one person dares to stand up and say, I agree with what the Father has spoken, and takes those first steps as my child, an entire line of history behind them can be changed forever. Past generations, though full of deep wounds, are no longer meaningless. They become the canvas where my grace is painted clearly. The generations to come, though you have not yet seen their faces, will taste the sweet fruit of the choices you make today. For every time you step out in faith with real action, you leave a lasting spiritual mark on your family line. From this moment on, we choose to trust the Father, and as you walk with this new strength, you are no longer just waiting to receive, but walking as a child who carries a powerful spiritual inheritance. You'll realize that the words I speak now that heaven has signed are no longer just a distant concept. They become the heartbeat of your decisions. The reason you rise after falling, the strength that keeps you from quitting. When you are willing to share the message I've given you, even with just one person in front of you, you partner with me in a work far greater than you imagine. Today, I invite you to do something very specific. Don't just nod to yourself and let this moment pass by. Ask me, Father, where do I begin? Who is the first person I need to support, message, or pray for? Then do it, even if it is a simple act. An encouraging text or a quick phone call to check in, a moment of courage to share what I've done for you, or daring to kneel and pray with someone in despair. None of these, when done in faith, are ever small in my eyes. It is in these quiet moments that you continue to seal the covenant between us. I will not receive only for myself. I choose to be a channel through which my blessing flows to others. And as you live this way, receiving, then giving, being lifted up, then lifting others, comforted and then comforting others, healed and then becoming a source of healing for them, you will find that you no longer ask, when will my blessing come? Your very life will prove that the blessing is already working inside you. When heaven has signed, I have already declared yes over your life. Now I am waiting for your yes, shown in the way you live, speak love, and dare to share. You will no longer just listen to the message. You will live the message and carry it with you, allowing it to flow to thirsty hearts you have never even met. When you open your mouth and speak what I have written on your hearts, when you dare to tell another soul what you have heard and seen and experienced with me, in that moment you step deeper into your own spiritual inheritance. Every time you share, it is not just casual talk. It is a profound act of confirmation. I believe what the Father has spoken over my life. It is no accident that you understand these truths, nor is it by chance that your heart stirs when you hear about blessings, faith, and your divine inheritance. It is because I chose to draw near to you to open your eyes and to patiently guide you on this journey. Some parts you remember and others you have forgotten. But I forget nothing. I signed the covenant over your life with love and goodwill. I set heavenly forces in motion to clear your path. I have let you see the signs, the answers, and the turning points. Look back and you will see that none of it was random. So when you raise your voice, when you boldly speak to another heart, your words are not just information. They are proof that this covenant lives and breathes inside you. Do you realize that when you tell a weary soul they are not abandoned, you are reminding yourself that you are not an orphan in faith? When you encourage someone who is ready to quit telling them that the Lord is still working, you are rekindling the flame of hope in your own heart, the fire life's storms tried to put out. Every time you use your story to comfort someone else, telling them, the Father is listening, the Father sees you, the Father is still making a way, the bond connecting you to your inheritance grows even stronger. Blessing is not a treasure to lock away in a cupboard. It is living water only truly complete when it flows from you to others. When you let truth speak through your lips and move through your heart, and when you love and lift up those around you in that very moment, you live as a true steward of your inheritance. You are no longer just someone begging for a small piece for themselves. I didn't speak to you just to leave it at that. I poured out my heart, touched you, and pulled back the curtain to reveal deeper truths. I did this so you wouldn't keep it to yourself, but become a bridge for those who are thirsty and do not know how to describe it. I signed the covenant of blessing over your life, not just so you could find comfort, but so you could carry that comfort to other hurting souls. I was willing to shake the heavens to send out my angels and align the perfect timing so you could step out of your old life and become my child and heir and a witness to the truth. I started all of this before you even knew your life was meant for more than just surviving. Now the choice is yours. Will you choose to believe fully and hold on to this truth all the way to the end of your journey? Don't think that holding fast is just a fleeting wave of emotion that will soon fade. Holding fast means choosing every single day in the most ordinary moments to stand firm on my word. Even when your circumstances do not change, you still choose to speak truth instead of echoing the hopeless voice of the world. When you cannot see an open door, you still prepare yourself like someone waiting for their name to be called. And when you are exhausted, you stay faithful to the small steps I have set before you. Instead of throwing up your hands and giving up, understand that holding tight is not about gritting your teeth to look strong. It is choosing to cling to me even when your emotions sink and your heart wants to pull back. In every single moment, you keep my promises deep in your heart. You keep reminding yourself that the Father has promised, has signed, and never breaks his word. That truth grows deep roots inside you, slowly becoming the natural reflex of your soul as the days go by. When you choose to let this truth keep growing, it will gradually transform how you think, how you feel, and how you see yourself and your entire life. It won't be a memorized lesson anymore. It will become your spiritual breath. In the past, when hard times came, you reacted with fear, doubt, and constant complaints. But slowly you will notice that you know how to pause, breathe deeply, and ask, Father, what are you teaching me through this? What have you already promised my life that this storm cannot touch? That is when you will realize you are no longer easily swept away by negative words. You will no longer drown in waves of constant bad news and heavy anxiety. The truth of your identity as my heir and the covenant I have sealed over your life, knowing that you aren't just waiting, but have already received my promise, will be your anchor in every storm. You belong to something that completely transcends time. You aren't just here to live a few short decades on this earth and then disappear. To me, you are part of a grand story written before the creation of the world, one that will echo throughout eternity. When you choose to step into that calling, living as an heir rather than a mere bystander, your life becomes a living testimony written into the story of the kingdom of heaven. You aren't just someone who hears about grace. You are the living proof of that grace. You don't just look back on the miracles I did for others. Your own life shows that I still move, still transform, and still rebuild what once seemed broken. Every single time you tell your story and honestly share your journey from deep fear to absolute trust, from insecurity to standing firm in your identity as my child, you declare to the world that my word never falls to the ground in vain. Never underestimate the power of a child who knows who they belong to. In a noisy world, so many voices try to deny me. You hear words dripping with sarcasm and doubt from hearts that have grown cold, frozen by deep pain and disappointment. But in the middle of all that, seeing a child who still carries scars, who still walks through difficult trials yet stubbornly clings to my promise, who still chooses to live loved, to forgive, and to walk in integrity, that itself is a beautiful miracle. You do not need to be perfect to witness for me. You just need to be honest about your path and let me shine through your life. Even your weakest moments can become the exact places where I display my greatest strength. Today I want you to realize that you no longer have to identify with those old labels. Failure, forgotten, unworthy, always left behind. Those names do not come from me. I never wrote words like that over your life. I call you by a completely different name. My son, my daughter, the one I chose, the one I trust with my work. And when I call you a witness to my word, it means everything I have spoken will be fulfilled in your life. Not so you can boast, but so you can mirror the pure goodness of your heavenly Father. Remember, you are not a copy of anyone else. In you, there is a unique mix of wounds, blessings, and experiences that form a very specific voice, one I will use to reach the people others cannot connect with. You will find that when you live as someone who already holds the promise, you no longer spend your time counting days and months just to see what the Lord has done for you. Instead, you start asking, how can this truth flow through me today? Yes, today. Who can I show the Father to today? What is the next small step I can take in my calling? Your question is no longer when you will receive, but how you will steward what you already have. That shift in your thinking transforms your attitude and actions. You will complain less, compare less, and stop envying others. You will start to deeply cherish what you already have, recognizing my presence in the small things, giving thanks for steps forward, even when they seem tiny. You will also learn to rejoice when others step into their blessings because you understand that the heavenly inheritance I have prepared for my children never runs dry. Remember that every single time you choose to trust me instead of your fears, you step out of the shadow of a passive waiter and become someone who is entrusted. Those who only wait are passive, easily discouraged, and quickly disappointed. But those who are entrusted are awake, attentive, listening, and ready. You start living with the awareness that no action is meaningless when done in faith. A simple word of encouragement you send someone, a comforting text, a hug, a quiet prayer whispered in secret, or choosing the truth over an easy lie. A moment where you accept a small loss just to keep your conscience clear. All of this matters to me. These daily choices are the exact way you keep signing your name to our sacred covenant. You must also know that walking as an heir won't always mean easy sailing, but you will realize you are never alone. My presence with you is never just a theory. When you want to let go, when you speak of hope to others while your own heart sinks, remember this: I do not stand at a distance and judge you. I draw near to remind you that I am the source of all your strength, all endurance and hope that never disappoints. I do not ask you to manufacture strength on your own. I invite you to return and receive fresh strength from me so you can keep living as one called by name, not some anonymous face in the crowd. My child, today is a fresh milestone. The moment you stop simply waiting around to see what God will do for you, and instead shift your heart to say, I want to cooperate with my Father in His work. From that very moment, your life enters a new chapter. You start living with the knowledge that the promise already bears your name. The blessing is signed, and your inheritance is secure. Your job is no longer to stand outside looking in, but to step inside, hold fast, and share it. You will stop saying, I hope so someday, and learn to say, today I take another step into my Father's promise. That certainty is not arrogance. It is the beautiful fruit of a heart that knows it is loved, redeemed, and chosen. And when you finally look back, you will notice something truly profound. I have never let my word fall flat without bearing fruit. The result may not look like you once imagined. The path may not look like what you pictured, but every single promise I make, every covenant I sign carries life and will find its fulfillment. You are one of those places. You are living proof that I keep my word, that I can transform thought patterns, heal broken hearts, and lift you from self-doubt to standing tall as my child. Today, when you choose to stop waiting in vague uncertainty and live as one who has received the promise bearing your very name, you display a beautiful, clear picture to the world. A child with human weaknesses, yet learning daily to walk in the blessing already signed in heaven. And that is what truly delights me. My child, to truly walk as an heir to your Father's portion, you must understand more deeply what faith really means. Many in this world speak of hope, positive thinking, and staying optimistic. But those concepts, while similar on the surface, are not the faith I am teaching you. Positive thinking only tries to paint over your circumstances. But true faith focuses on me, the unchanging God. Optimism merely tries to look at the bright side of things. But faith clings to my word even when everything around you is unclear. Optimism helps you stay positive, but faith is a heart decision that says, I choose to stand on what my Father spoke even when my feelings, my logic, or my past experiences scream the exact opposite. Faith does not stop at the simple statement, I believe in God, only to live like you received nothing. Faith means letting your entire life prove my word is real. Every word you speak, every choice you make, and every response to trials declares, I treat my Father's word as reality. It is not just a lovely theory or some spiritual slogan you repeat to calm your anxiety. True faith means matching the entire rhythm of your life to the promise I have spoken over you, acting as if it has already happened. You handle your time differently, care for yourself differently, and view your future differently. Not because your circumstances have changed, but because deep down you know that heaven has already made its decision. In the spiritual world, every single time you trust me, instead of your fear, you put another bold stroke on the covenant between us. Speaking words of trust is just the opening sentence. But when your feet walk out what you declare and your hands move, that is when your signature is written. You say you trust me to care for your life. But real faith shows up when you dare to walk away from old compromises and let go of safe paths that break my heart. You choose the path I lay out even if it looks risky to the world. You say you believe I am your healer. But the signature of faith is penned when you still give thanks right in the middle of your pain, still wait for me, and refuse to let out a single complaint. It is this very alignment between your words, your actions, and your inner heart that turns your belief from a vague idea into a living seal. There will be times when you look and see nothing but delays, setbacks, and silence. You pray and you wait. Yet there is no proof that what you hope for is coming. This is exactly where real faith is refined. Faith does not mean waiting until the path is clear before you celebrate. It is knowing that even if your hands are empty right now, my decree has been issued. You can praise me today because you know I keep my promises. Faith is thanking me before you see the answer, praising me in the empty space, because you know your Father never makes empty promises. Once that truth settles deep in your soul, you will feel less rushed, less afraid, less tempted to compare yourself to others because you know your blessing is already secure in heaven. When I say that faith is your signature, understand that your trust carries immense weight in the heavenly world. It isn't just some lucky chant you repeat to yourself, but your agreement with a gracious verdict sent directly from your Father's throne. I have approved it and signed it. I have set aside blessings for your life, yet I never force them on you. I honor your free will waiting for your signature. A heart that trusts me completely is like a hand taking up the pen, signing your name and saying, I agree with everything my Father has chosen for me. And once we are in agreement, no wall, no chain, and no lie can stand in your way. Your trust is what unleashes the power of my finished work. So often you look at yourself and think, I am too small, too weak, and full of flaws. How could I ever deserve the wonderful things my Father has promised me? You look at everyone else and compare yourself. You start to feel inferior, as if you do not matter at all. And you tell yourself those blessings must be for people who are more spiritual, talented, or worthy. I hear all those quiet doubts whispering inside your heart. But hear me, I do not measure faith by your talents, status, success, or past. It has nothing to do with how many good deeds you perform to cover your past mistakes. True faith is measured by how deeply you dare to lean on me instead of your own strength. A little child holds their father's hand, not because they are strong, but because they trust his hand is steady. In the very same way, the power of faith does not depend on your grip, but on the one holding you. All I ask for is a simple heart that says, I cannot do this, but my Father can. That kind of faith means more to me than oceans of knowledge. I do not judge you for your past mistakes or the times you stumbled and fell, or the seasons when you took the wrong path. I only ask today, will you trust me enough to place the weight of your life back in my hands? I count that as your signature. You do not need endless new signs to believe what I have already promised you. I know you long for signs, for a clear voice or powerful moments to soothe your aching heart. But there comes a moment when you have to decide, will you live by passing emotions and signs? Or will you anchor your soul in your Father's promises? No matter how your feelings shift, heaven has already spoken its final verdict. You are loved, forgiven, chosen, and called into a beautiful divine plan. That truth never changes, even if you feel worse today than you did yesterday. When you boldly declare, I believe, and let those words truly guide your daily life, your faith becomes the seal confirming what heaven has already spoken over you. I'm not asking you to shut your eyes and ignore reality. I'm not telling you to deny your pain, overlook the struggle, or pretend that life is easy. Faith is not an escape from reality, but bringing what I have promised directly into your current truth. You can say, yes, I am weak, but in this weakness, my Father's power is revealed. You can admit, yes, I have nothing, but my Father is my source. You never have to pretend you are doing fine when you are not. You only need to trust that even when things fall apart, I am still the one holding everything together. That posture is what makes your faith real. It is not just a fresh coat of paint, but a living strength deep within you. Every time you choose to trust me in hard times, and every time you offer forgiveness instead of holding on to bitter resentment, every single time you dare to take another step, even when you cannot see the path ahead, that is when your faith leaves its deepest mark on the pages of the story I am writing. Those quiet choices might not win applause or get noticed by anyone, but heaven knows exactly who you are. The angels see it, and I see it. The entire spiritual world must acknowledge that you have not just heard, but fully agreed. That is when the blessings I prepared long ago will finally find a clear path to flow into your life. So do not wait until you have it all together before you dare to believe for great things. It is your raw trust in the middle of your mess that touches my heart the most. I did not wait for you to be perfect before sealing my covenant with you. I signed it while you were still struggling. Now I am waiting for your signature in return. Let your thoughts, your words, and your daily choices slowly but surely lean toward me. Day by day, your faith will grow. Your commitment will become clearer, and the doors to my plans for you will swing wide open. My beloved child, if you are standing at a crossroads today, torn between an easy path that compromises your soul and a harder path that brings deep peace, I urge you, let faith make the choice. Do not make your choice out of fear of losing face, failing, or being completely misunderstood. And do not jump at something just because it promises quick, easy gains. Instead, ask yourself which path draws me closer to my Father and keeps me true to my calling. When the answer rises in your heart, let faith take the lead. You might tremble, you might pay a high price, and you might have to walk against the crowd, but you will never walk alone. I am going with you, and I take full responsibility for the path you have chosen by faith. At the end of every single step of your obedience, you will meet with me and realize that not a single stroke of your faith was ever in vain. Remember, the value of a signature is not the beautiful handwriting, but the identity of the person signing. Even if your hand is trembling, and even if the lines are messy and crooked, here is what truly matters. The one holding the pen is you, my beloved child, and the one confirming it is me, the faithful God who never breaks his promise. When those two signatures meet, one in heaven and one on earth, what I have planned for you will slowly unfold in the perfect timing and rhythm for your soul. That is why I always call you to trust me, not to weigh you down with another burden, but to clear the path for the blessings I have already prepared for you. My child, what you are hearing right now is not just extra noise in an already crowded day. It is not just some random content to fill your loneliness. This is a direct, urgent call from heaven, a signal sent straight into your spirit to remind you that you are not forgotten or lost in the crowd. I see you. You are in my heart and always in the plans I have cherished for your life. So many times you have whispered to yourself that nobody truly understands while quickly wiping away tears you did not want anyone else to see. But I have counted every single tear. They never fall in vain. Each one tells me what you are going through. The longings you have never dared to speak aloud. If only you knew how tenderly I hold those quiet, heavy moments. You would never feel like you are suffering all alone. There are nights when you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, your heart heavy with questions you are too afraid to ask out loud. Is God actually listening to me? Do my quiet whispers just vanish into thin air? My child, not a single word you speak to me is ever lost. Every sigh, every desperate plea, and every broken sentence cut short by your tears rises to me like a sweet, quiet fragrance. You might forget the exact words you cried out in your darkest moments, but I never do. Maybe you think your prayers were too weak, or your words weren't perfect, but I don't grade you on a formula. I look straight at the trembling heart behind your voice, and that is the exact heart that moves me. Today I am not here to scold you for feeling weak. I want to show you that your pain has purpose, and no hardship you face is ever wasted. The dead ends you see are actually where I build new roads. The moments you write off as failures, I use them to grow your soul. Not a single dry season in your journey is just wasted empty space. I am weaving every thread together, creating a beautiful story far greater than anything you could have planned for yourself. I need you to know this. I never stand by and watch you suffer alone. And there is not a single joy you feel where I am not smiling right beside you. Deep in the spiritual realm, a divine blessing has been tailored specifically for you. It bears your name and no one else can claim it. This is not some cheap generic gift handed out to the crowd, but a personal promise written with my deep love for you. It is signed and sealed by the authority of my throne, which means no dark force can steal or undo it. You don't have to fight or compete with others or stress over who has more and who has less, because the destiny I have for you is completely yours, never copied and never delivered to the wrong person. This blessing isn't some empty daydream to keep you warm, nor is it a hollow catchphrase that sounds nice but offers no real power. It is a solid spiritual truth far more real than anything you can physically touch today. The physical things you hold right now can slip away. They can break and fade. But what I have promised you in eternity stands forever. When I speak a word, it always performs its purpose. When I make a promise, I don't just say it to comfort you and then forget about it. Your divine portion is locked away in a safe place where time, harsh trials, broken trust, and even your own struggles can never touch it. Inside that heavenly storehouse, I have stored up blessings you never even dared to dream you could reach. I have gathered every resource you need for this journey, giving you strength when you feel like collapsing. I give you wisdom when you are overwhelmed by choices and clear direction when you don't know which way to turn. I have set up the right connections with the right people at the perfect moment to open massive doors you could never force open on your own. The key people you will meet, the strategic connections, those simple passing comments that turn out to be the exact message you needed to hear. All of these are parts of my plan slowly unfolding, and believe me, it doesn't stop there. Hidden inside my vault for you are breakthroughs and opportunities that your mind cannot even fathom right now. It could be a fresh direction, a divine calling, a new place to serve, or even a brand new home. These upgrades aren't just to make your life a little better, but to align you fully with the sacred purpose I placed deep inside your soul. And alongside that, I am holding on to brilliant ideas that will redirect your steps, fresh inspiration for your career, a healthier way of seeing yourself, a bright vision for your future, and a way out of those exhausting cycles. Because I know you need more than just a dream. You need real physical steps. I have prepared exact provisions to sustain you. This support isn't just about finances, but absolutely everything required to keep you from falling on this path. Loyal friends who back you up, timely words that lift your spirit, and strong arms ready to carry you. Little openings that show you I am still working behind the scenes, and I have set aside a priceless gift that this world can never buy or sell, a deep peace to guard your heart and mind. This isn't because your outer world is quiet, but because you know you are safely held in my hands. No matter how wild the storms rage, folded inside my promise are things you would call miracles. Divine moments that escape any logical explanation. Sudden turnarounds that felt impossible yet unfold in a quiet, deeply profound way. Sometimes it is physical healing from a sickness. Other times a broken relationship is restored or a locked door suddenly swings wide open. Often the real miracle isn't a change in your situation, but a deep change within you. Your heart finally heals. Past trauma no longer rules your life. You find the strength to forgive the person whose name used to trigger your pain. These quiet shifts are proof that my promise is actively working in your life. None of this is scattered randomly by blind luck or chance. It is wrapped in a sacred gift, sealed by my authority and constantly watched over. It is completely ready, fully finished and whole, just waiting for you to open it at the perfect moment. You often think the perfect time is when everything around you is easy, when doors fly open and you feel strong. But to me, the perfect moment is when your heart softens. It is when you are finally ready to listen, ready to see clearly and willing to respond to my call. And I need you to understand something truly important. That moment is not lost in some distant future. It is not some blurry day you must anxiously wait for. It all begins the second you choose to quiet the noise around you and focus on my voice. It starts when you stop asking when I will act and instead ask where you can open your heart today to join in my work. When your inner questions change, you will realize your season has shifted even if your surroundings look exactly the same. So I am not telling you to wait another year. I am telling you to listen closely right now. Do not just listen to get it over with. Do not just listen to say you heard. Listen believing this is the answer to the quiet prayers you have carried for years. Let my words touch the deep places you still hide and fear to face. Let me shine light on the dark corners of your thoughts about yourself, about me, and about your future. Because the very second you open your heart, the door to the spiritual blessings I have stored for you begins to unlock. You might say, I don't feel ready. I understand. I never ask for perfection before you take a step of faith. I only ask that you are completely honest with yourself and with me. The readiness I want from you is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward. Step out even while you are trembling, not waiting for perfect conditions, but daring to start with what is already in your hands. I am here to remind you that my part is already done. Your only job is to trust me, open your heart, and respond. And the very second you say, I want to believe, I want to step forward, even if I am trembling, divine timing is activated. From this moment on, every single thought you feed matters. Every word you speak and every small choice you make becomes a yes or no to my invitation. I will never force you. I do not threaten you, but I do not take your decisions lightly either. You are far more important than you realize. Your choices hold massive weight. I have placed blessings in your life that are not just for you, but are meant to overflow to everyone around you. When you finally agree to step into the calling I have for you, you are naturally opening a path for others to experience my divine love through you. So my beloved, do not just treat these words as a nice sermon for your soul and then forget them completely. View this as a personal letter sent directly to you at the perfect time. Let your busy heart slow down right now. Talk to me honestly about your fears, your deep doubts, and your past disappointments. Tell me if you struggle to believe. I am never angry when you speak the truth. It only hurts me when you pretend to be strong and suffer all alone. I am standing right beside you at this very moment. I see you and I hear you. The blessing with your name on it is fully prepared. It is no longer waiting for a decision down the road. The issue is not whether I want to give this to you. The question is, will you let yourself be loved enough to receive it? If today, among so many loud and distracting voices, you let my voice speak directly into your soul, That is the first step where your key of faith turns the lock. And once that lock turns, the door will never stay shut again, my beloved child. Everything I have promised you, from the seal of heaven to your prepared blessings and your identity as an heir, will remain just words, unless you finally reach out your hand and take hold. True faith is not just a nice thought, nor is it a temporary feeling that fades when this video ends. Faith is when you declare to yourself, I am done just listening. It is time for me to respond. And every single time you choose to take action, even with a tiny action in this physical world, it echoes loudly in the spirit as a clear declaration of agreement. Today, I am inviting you to take that quiet but powerful step. It is far more meaningful than you know. What is shifting inside your spirit right now? I see it more clearly than anyone. I feel the stirrings in you, those old closed-off places softening and opening just a bit. Do not let these sacred moments fade away without taking action. I want you to mark this moment with something real and visible, so you will always look back and remember it. Yes, that was the moment I chose to stand on my Father's promises. In this digital age, you are used to simple actions, clicking a button, typing a quick comment, or sharing a post. Let's take these everyday online actions and turn them into sacred reflections of what's happening in your heart. You might ask yourself how a simple like, comment, or subscribe could ever be spiritual. But look closer. With your own hands, through your personal account and digital space, you are boldly declaring, I am not ashamed of my faith. I won't hide my devotion in a dark corner anymore. I want everyone to hear the powerful truths my Father is whispering to me. Right now it looks like just a simple tap, but to me it shows you're stepping away from quiet, hidden belief. You are giving your active faith a real voice, a face, and a daily purpose. I don't need digital applause to feel glorified. I am already whole. But I choose these simple online spaces to let my living word pour into thirsty hearts. I want to honor your trust by linking your physical actions directly to a profound, lasting impact in the spiritual world. When you decide to follow and share, or write a brief testimony about what I have done for you, you are telling me, I want in on the story you're building through this gospel message. You are no longer standing on the sidelines. You are an active partner, and when you step into that role, you'll feel me working through your life in beautiful ways you've never known. Think about this. Out there, a tired, broken soul standing on the brink of giving up just like you once did, stumbles upon this video. They don't even know how to pray or who to ask for help. Yet this saving message appears on their screen because of a few simple, selfless taps made by believers who came before them. People who taught the algorithm that this truth matters and needs to be seen. You might not see it, but your quick share could be the exact bridge that leads a lost heart home to the truth they crave. I see every single connection, even when you cannot. My heart is glad when your devotion steps outside your private world to touch strangers. But there's something else you must understand. Not every daily online action carries eternal weight. But when your heart is deeply moved and you are here by my divine plan and not by accident, those small choices take on a beautiful new meaning. They aren't just empty habits now, but purposeful declarations. You are saying, I stand for the light, I nurture what is good, and I want to push these words of hope further. I love these moments because they prove your trust is alive and active. Listen to me closely. I never disappoint those who dare to put their confidence in me. Trusting me doesn't mean you won't encounter heavy storms, struggles, or tough questions. It means that through the darkest storm, you cling to one strong thread. I know my Father holds my hand. When you make a public move, even a tiny gesture in a crowded world declaring your belief, something supernatural happens. The heavy shame the enemy tried to plant in your soul starts to melt away. You aren't embarrassed to talk about me anymore. You feel right at home calling yourself my child in front of others. Sharing your faith openly shatters the heavy chains of fear that held you back. Today, I'm not asking you to keep your faith a quiet secret. I'm inviting you to seal this exact moment with a choice. Do not hesitate. Don't put it off. Delaying your obedience only gives fear more control over your heart. But when you step out immediately, your spiritual journey takes a massive leap forward. I'm not asking you to do anything massive or beyond your strength. Just start with what's in front of you. Prove that you value my voice, that you recognize the sacred power of this message, and that you want this hope to spread instead of stopping with you. You might think small efforts don't matter, but remember how I used a young boy's simple lunch to feed thousands. I have always used the smallest things to perform my greatest wonders. Every day I take simple, ordinary steps to unlock new doors for my children. I don't demand grand status. I look for a willing spirit. When your heart is ready, even your smallest action becomes a seed. And any seed you place in my hands will never be wasted. Starting today, view every act of obedience in your daily life or on your screen as a stroke of ink in your spiritual signature. Let it be a word of hope, a quick testimony, a moment. You stand up for truth, or a simple click so a friend can hear my word. Every action builds our sacred covenant together. Each stroke proudly declares you are not just receiving, I am a carrier of your truth. I'm not just watching, I am active. And those who step in are the ones who see my work clearly. If you feel a quiet battle inside your chest right now wanting to act, yet holding back, know that I see you. I do not condemn your fear, but I don't want you stuck in hesitation either. Because putting things off numbs your soul, slowly closing your heart to my quiet voice. So while you still feel that stir inside knowing I am speaking to you, make your decision now. Forget the algorithm or who is behind the screen. Do this for your own soul. I know there were times you almost listened, almost made a change, almost stood up for me, but froze because you feared what people would say. Today I am giving you a fresh chance to move beyond almost and actually act. You cannot change yesterday, but you can choose how to answer today. If you say yes in your heart and take just one small step, you break the grip that hesitation has held over your life. I will help you shatter those chains, turning today's tiny steps into massive leaps in the days ahead. Never think that I treat your faith like some business deal. It is not a matter of give and take. I do not trade with you, I pour out my grace. But I need an open channel for that grace. Faith is the door you unlock to receive what I have already set aside. When you hold back, I do not pull away. You have just kept the door closed. But the moment you take action, even a tiny step, that door begins to swing wide. I will never force my way inside, but I will step through any opening you give me. That is why I urge you to act. Do not just feel something. Let today be a milestone. Do not just talk about faith like it is some contract. Grab the pen and actually sign it through what you do. From this day on, you can look back and remember that was the moment I stopped hiding my faith. That was when I let my belief speak. Step forward and engage. Soon you will see doors you thought were locked forever start to swing open. Not because a simple click is magic, but because your obedient heart moved me. Long before I shaped this world, I already loved you. I wrote you into my master plan. Yet today, out of all the distractions online, you could have easily scrolled right past. But you paused here to read this. It is no accident. I want this to be more than just a fleeting feeling. Let it be a real turning point on your spiritual journey. My promise is already signed. Now I'm calling you to sign yours by taking action today to respond with a real step that goes far beyond simple thoughts. I am not here to judge. I want to take your tiny steps and build them into a brand new path, so you no longer watch from the outside, but fully step into the beautiful future I planned for you from the start. Now take a moment to quiet your mind and offer up a genuine prayer from the deepest corners of your soul. Heavenly Father, you know my heart far better than I know myself. Today I come to you with a soul that still carries scars. I have built walls to protect myself from more pain. I confess that I shut down, stopped hoping, and expected only the worst just to stay safe. But by blocking others out, I also closed the door on the amazing blessings you wanted to give me, Lord. Please break down these walls, these shields I built from old wounds, cruel words, and times I felt completely abandoned. Teach me to open up again, trusting that when I drop my guard, you will not leave me helpless, but will shield me with your love. Give me the strength to step out of my shell and let my heart soften to the sound of your voice. Help me choose your light instead of hiding in comfortable darkness. Lord, I truly want to believe again. I want to heal. I invite you into the dark corners I locked away. Let this simple prayer start my healing journey. Move me out from behind walls of worry and into the safe embrace of your divine peace. Gracious Father, I confess that I have often let fear and doubt crowd out the faith that belongs to you. I have prayed while holding on to backup plans, trying to protect myself from being let down again. Because of that, my prayers never sank deep into my soul. Please forgive me for the times I doubted your goodness. Forgive me for thinking you had forgotten me or that your beautiful promises were only meant for everyone else. For believing that your blessings were out of reach for a flawed life like mine. Give me a fresh, steady faith, not a fleeting feeling, but an anchor built on knowing who you are. Help me trust you more than my past, my worries, or toxic opinions. Teach me to speak words of life. Let my mouth stop complaining or putting myself down and start declaring your powerful truth instead. Turn my daily thoughts into statements of faith rather than repeating my deepest fears. And when I feel weak, remind me to say, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief so that my faith may truly grow. Precious Lord Jesus, thank you for coming to earth for me. On that cross, you sealed my salvation and future with your own blood. But I realize I've mostly watched from a distance, looking at your sacred promise without stepping out in real faith and obedience. Forgive me for when I let feelings replace true devotion. Forgive the prayers I made but forgot during the week. Forgive me for calling you Lord while still letting my fears, daily comfort, and old habits run my life. Give me a fresh spirit, one that moves from merely hearing and feeling to acting and growing. Teach me to truly change how I use my days, the people I keep close, and the quiet, honest choices that match what you have put deep inside my soul. Let my words, my daily decisions, and how I handle hard times show the world that I am fully aligned with your plan. Even if my commitment shakes, sometimes make it stronger every day until it becomes steady and fearless in your sight. Powerful and loving God, I bow to thank you. Long before I found you, before I even learned to pray or knew I was lost, you saw me, cared for me, and wrote my name into your grace. Thank you that the good things in my life are not just lucky accidents, but promises you personally signed, sealed, and set aside until the perfect moment when my heart was ready. Thank you for not holding my flaws or my shallow faith against me or my doubts, but loving me through your endless grace. You never took back your promises when I fell behind or slipped, but quietly waited for me to come back to you. I thank you for every breath in my lungs and every chance to hear your truths. Every moment I shake off spiritual sleep proves your promise is alive and that you never quit on what you started building inside me. Heavenly Father, thank you that even when my life felt like absolute chaos, you were working behind the scenes, shifting doors and changing my path. Thank you even for the painful departures that broke my heart, because I see now that it wasn't a loss but a necessary pruning to prepare me for a brighter, more beautiful season. Thank you for bringing new souls into my life, people who lift me up, guide me, and open unexpected doors. Thank you for the accidental meetings that ended up transforming my walk with you. I even thank you for the closed doors and the unanswered prayers. I see now that those rejections were actually your protection, your preparation, and your perfect timing. Accept my deepest thanks because you are still in control even when I am confused. I pray this in the powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If this touched you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Let us build a strong, faithful community together. Selah, be still, rest now. Selah, amen. Peace, grace, hope, love. Amen.